Hello and welcome to another episode of That's Your Demon. Oh wait, we're on the wrong line. Okay. This is the Random Show, and I come to you with an urgent understanding. Multi-mask is missing. We really didn't care about him being here in the first place, but hey, if you gotta have somebody vanish, that might be it.
What are my thoughts?
Anyway, today we'd like to talk to you, random show-wise. Yes, you said it, we're still alive. We don't really believe we are, but hey, you know, anything can happen on Halloween. Okay, now, what are our questions? Please repeat.
COVID, co-ed universities, and schools that are closed, higher education under the election, bird-watching backwards drivers.
See, isn't that things that sound like the same thing?
On COVID. It's like, what's going on? You really can't trust. You don't know which sources to trust. Which news is truthful. Which person speaking knows what they're talking about. You hear people saying Trump didn't do anything, but didn't look up a timeline of all the things he's done. And then other people are like, oh, Trump did a bad job. Well, what are you comparing it to? Other countries? Or other countries as big as us? The United States, that is? There's other factors. The U.S. is surrounded by Canada and Mexico. The U.S. has people sneaking in from Mexico. How many have COVID? Who knows? And as for people who had COVID, there's probably a bunch of people who had COVID and either were asymptomatic or it was just like a cold to them or a slight flu and they thought nothing of it. And was COVID here before we thought COVID was here? There's people who think they might have had it before we even realized it was COVID. There's people who died before COVID got here. Maybe they died of COVID and they just weren't tested. When did COVID get here? When did it really get here? When did it get anywhere? We don't even know how it started. Some people think it started with eating a bat. Other people think it started with somebody taking it out of a facility and then accidentally spreading it around. And so, you really need a lot of research and comparing it to each other to really figure out what's going on. And what's worse is, we can't even trust where it came from. From what I understand, it looks like China lied to most of the world, and then the World Health Organization backed their lies. So, and then you got contradicting arguments about masks, which I, for one, am pro wearing a mask. But there's some scientists that say don't wear a mask. And there's contradicting thought on what works, what doesn't work in fighting COVID. I think a real interesting, from here to the end of the year we need to just research what's really going on, and then come January 2nd, because everyone's going to be recovering from New Year's Eve, January 1st. January 2nd, we reevaluate everything. And I think that's my thoughts on that.
Well, I'd like to introduce you to a great friend of mine and eventually one of yours if you manage to live long enough. Blue Trouble.
You can figure out why I'm Blue Trouble.
Yeah.
Due to the COVID, things have changed a little.
Yeah, everybody wants to be ninja. But we are the only ones allowed to. We got the credit cards. Anyway, you're tired of listening to us because we're tired of listening to you. You know who you are because we're watching. Yes, we're watching. Okay, anyway, back to the event at hand. COVID 2014, or was it 2012?
Are we in 2020?
Yeah, we're in 2020, but it seems like we're in 2014.
I think we've been underground too long.
I know, it's like as if Obama just came out of the ground, became a zombie, and the rest of the world started following him. Exactly. Okay, social distancing. You know, usually when someone's social distance, it's because their dog is crapped all over someone's leg. It's true.
I know it is. I stepped in a big pile of it yesterday.
Yes, and it's called an election.
Ah, the election.
Yes. That must be why the COVID is such a powerful message. Don't get me wrong, people die all the time. We're personal believers in it. Anyway, the fact is that very few ever survive life. When you're born, you're given a 1 in a million chance of being born. So imagine something that's created around it to kill you. That really didn't like you that much, did it?
You must still be talking about the election.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Unfortunately, COVID is a very serious problem. 1%, the middle finger 1% is, those are the ones who want you dead. Not the illness itself, because we don't even know if there is one. No one has proven it other than people dying, and people die every day. Just the other day, people were having accidents just outside. Oh wait, I forgot to mention our Halloween buzzer, which goes off whenever there's something scary, or we feel like it. Anyway, we have a missing multi-mask.
We turned in a police report though, didn't we?
Yeah, and they reported him to be alive, so we don't believe it.
Oh, he must have committed suicide due to the corona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, once again, another unworthy death by something that we really don't know whether or not it existed, much like Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, CNN, all these so-called media individuals who claim to be alive, but we really don't know if they are alive.
Well, that government, that White House has to be run by somebody.
Yeah, but imagine if it's only run by the staff and everybody else is on vacation.
Oh, you must mean the security guards.
Yes, the House of Representatives. Yes, that's what I felt when we were talking about people going to the polls by mail. Now, let's get to the truth of the COVID. Okay, first the bird flu, and people started wearing masks like a ninja. Then the bird flu 2, and still, you don't hear China talking about the bird flu 2. You only hear them talking about this new invention called COVID, which of course is not truly new since California has a place called COVID, California.
There's a COVID, California?
Yeah, it's called Corona.
It's
California.
Corona time.
Exactly. COVID is actually Corona. It's just Corona Extra. And the extra is they want to steal your vote.
They're out to get you, people.
Mm-hmm. They can't get us people because they've already decided that we don't exist. And we have yet to put the vote in.
They're the last person to try to mess with us.
Yep, we gave them ice cream. Now, okay, so, Blue Trouble,
Yes.
what do you think about the COVID?
Well, it's like this, Shadow Eyes.
Oh yeah, by the way, my name's Shadow Eyes. If y'all haven't been watching the last 11 episodes,
And no, he's not a woman.
I hope not.
Well, we still have our doubts.
Well, under all of this. Okay. Continue.
COVID is like, it's like you go in Walmart and you buy one, you get one 50% off.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the government's thinking about us.
Okay.
They kill one person, they give another person 50% off at the pharmacy. It's just a way to control the people. I mean, I've always said, you can't trust the politics and you can't trust the government.
Let's see, the last 3 letters of the word politics is what?
Ticks.
Bingo. See, and that's what happens after you vote. You wait around for this to happen. And not because you're waiting for the vote to be counted, you're waiting for it to be missed. See, here's what I find so funny. I recently found out on the net that the president wanted to change the election date because he wanted everybody to be healthy in order to actually go to the polls to vote. But yet the Supreme Court, and according to the Constitution, they said that it can't be done, but yet the original politics individuals in charge, they did the exact same thing for a different election. Now, this isn't what's so interesting about it. What's so interesting about it is that the Supreme Court now ruled that any late voters will still be counted after the election. So, how is that not the same thing as the so-called Trump event? That to me, it doesn't make sense. It's like they want you to vote, but then they want to add votes at the end of the election and not during it.
That's because they add their own votes.
Exactly. That's what I'm suspecting too. Exactly. Now here's another thing that they mentioned based on the COVID. Okay. 66%, according to New York, had stayed in their homes and still got the virus. So, how can you stay in your home and get the virus and yet claim that that is the safest way for you to remain without the illness? Yet, they can't produce any proof of one thing or the other. That to me is kind of strange. Now, here's what's even more strange. Wearing your mask while you're doing gymnastics. Okay, I can understand us. We train for something that's stupid. But they, on the other hand, the American public or the government of the world, that's kind of, not so good. So what's your thoughts on mask wearing when it comes to health concerns?
Well, that's our future of health concerns.
That's how I feel about it too.
So how do you feel about them rigging the election?
Let's see, I can't seem to find the buzzer here. Okay,
Oh,
here it is.
it's around here
Okay,
somewhere.
cool. It's not about what I feel about the election. It's about the fact that if Biden wins, supposedly we're in lockdown like the Planet of the Apes. But if Trump wins, we're supposedly in the Ice Age of 2025. This is not Harry Potter world. We don't get messages from owls. Okay. I heard that owl was pushing that button now. Get it out of here. Okay.
It must be stuck, like the election.
Yes. Now, whether we live in heaven or hell, that doesn't matter. We still are here. So, make up your mind. Exactly. Now, let's go on to a little bit about the COVID a little further. Okay, one, originally they said it was a bat virus. Two, they ended up saying that it was brought over by the Chinese and the 700,000 people were supposedly already infected or whatever, trying to avoid bird flu number 2 and came over to the United States. So, I'm really kind of lost here as to how we are supposedly protecting ourselves from something that originally they claim now China had created and supposedly Obama had quote-unquote paid for.
Well, I heard it was from the bird crap off the birds.
Well,
Yeah.
perhaps it's the media over there trying to crap on us. Then supposedly, once again, get into the election aspect. Anyone can vote. So it looks like your cat, your dog, your rabbit, your bunny, I think it's a bunny or rabbit, yeah, okay. And any form of foreign squirrel now has the ability to vote.
No, folks, we are not talking about racism. We are talking about animals voting. That's how desperate they are.
Exactly. Sadly, the whole idea is they've been trying to sell off America since 2020. And if you think that we're like in 2021, 2010, they've been trying to sell off America. So for the last 10 years, America has been fighting back, trying to get a cheaper price. So, Blue Trouble, what do you think about if the world got sold over to another nation?
I think it would be much better off.
How?
Well, as it is, we got this nation running this nation, and it is a screwed up mess. I mean, next thing you know, we're going to have animals voting and electing. We got the government running around saying there's a COVID when it's not killing any more people than it is the flu. And they don't seem to know where it came from, but it's mysteriously here. I think it's a takeover.
Yes, I personally think it is that too. See,
It's time.
and the sad thing about the art of wearing a mask is that we see through them. Because we've been trained to wear them. You, on the other hand, have not. If you think you've been trained to wear masks, 555 mask stupidity, because you are now... Anyway, let's move on. Co-ed universities, our next random subject. Yes, this is the random show you have embarked on, so either turn the channel or continue to listen to us because we're here.
Okay, so I'm not 100% sure what you want, what you really, really want, but I'm trying to give you what you want, what you really, really want. When you ask co-ed universities and schools that are closed higher education under the election. So first off, co-ed universities are awesome because co-ed. Now the ones that are closed under the election, now, you know what? Are school presidents even elected? Like, why did they give them that? I feel like presidents should be an elected position no matter what you're president of. Like, it doesn't make sense to just be like, yeah, president. Isn't there other positions you could give that? Now, if presidents of school are elected, then I understand why they would close schools, because people are still afraid of the COVID. But I mean, you see, like, college football is being played, so, I mean, obviously schools are still open, but for how long? Because if winter is coming and COVID's supposed to spike and everyone's reopening more and more, schools are probably just going to get locked down again unless people stop being afraid of the virus. So yeah, I think I covered that pretty good. Let me relook at the question. Co-ed universities and schools that are closed. Yeah, it may have been taken. I don't know. I think I answered the question perfectly.
Yeah.
Hi, and welcome to the Mental Health Hotline. If you're interested in the random show, press 1. Should we talk about transgenders on the university or not go there?
We can, but let's start with the male-female aspect of universities first. See, universities have always been male and female. Whether the male's been taught from a distance or the female's been taught from a distance, they always come into the universities to graduate. But right now, co-ed universities are becoming more about political universities, as in political parties. And if this is what universities are going to be turned into, why should we care as human beings whether or not it's coming from a male gender, a female gender, or a cross gender? Your thoughts on that? I agree.
It's definitely cross-gender.
But higher education should be about the nature of why we want to keep schools open. We don't want politics in our school to the point where it is ruling the next generation. We want people who choose to be responsible adults and go out into the world and mess it up because of the rules. not because they have freedom. Freedom is like a pizza. You know, you can ask for whatever you want on your topping, but if the person on the other line isn't listening to you, watch what gets delivered.
A piece of crap.
Exactly.
You know, all these schools are the same, Shadow Eyes. From the age of 5 or 6, they send kids to school for the next 18 years. Not to educate,
Keep going.
not to train them, but to make sure they all come out exactly alike. No individuals, no individual personalities, no individual talents. They want everybody alike. And by doing this COVID thing, they're training everybody to be alike.
I know.
How do you feel?
Well, I'm out for the people who, quote unquote, believe that this is the reality of an illness that is beyond our own nature, as in a secondary version of a higher version of the flu. However, there has been no evidence to prove that. People are dying, but why are they dying? Not because of this COVID, but because of what is being played at, the image of it. But ever notice how whenever there is a series of letters that are put together, they are scary and wrong, and I mean, who even knows anything about Al-Qaeda? Who knows anything about Antifa? Who knows anything about any of these so-called letters that have showed up in the alphabet? To me, this is the mystery that is the problem in itself. I mean, hey, when Obama was being elected, there was a group that was in there destroying stuff too in a riot fashion, and they were called Acorn. But what's an acorn? And then there's such movements as the Black Lives Matter, the All Lives Matter, and the Breakfast of the Month matters. And it's funny that the Breakfast of the Month never, ever, ever gets to be good.
Man, it's hot in this thing.
Yes, that's the problem. Well, actually, that's the solution, because, you know, while wearing the mask, we remain cool, while the mask remains warm. Now, being one of us, and I'm glad you're on the show today, because, you know,
Thank you, Shadow Eyes.
it takes a very good blue person to realize that they are trouble. Now, okay, the universe, once again, we're going to get like separate parts where Multi-Mask has put in his remarks based on these things, because we somehow hung him upside down in the very beginning of our episode before he vanished. And, well,
He is dead.
he had words.
He will be back. He's to be resurrected, but
Yeah, supposedly during the election. But
he's dead.
okay. But for right now, we consider him dead. Okay. Until we have more evidence, much like Quebec.
Oh, Multi-Mask?
Uh-huh.
Bring milkshakes and he will not be dead anymore.
Yes, Multi-Mask. We demand. Okay. Now, let's go to school closings. Okay. This is a building that has relied on the money of parents and individuals to get out of their homes and eventually get a degree that doesn't mean anything in this world. Okay. And yet, these places closed. How can they close? There must, when the COVID hit, churches were closed. Churches steal your money. You give money to the churches.
No, churches steal money. Go ahead and say it. I've been saying it for a long time.
Okay.
Churches steal money.
Let's get to the point. Okay. The fact is that it's still a building. So give it to the homeless, give it to the helpless, give it to the socially distant individuals. Because otherwise, give me a third second.
Shadow Eyes will return, folks. And now for the previews. Oh, very easy.
Sorry. The sad side effect of wearing a mask long term is that if you have hair, well, you now know. Okay. Now, as I was saying, it is a sad shame that these homeless people all around the world, even though they can go to school for a grant, they can't get into a school while it's closed. If they could get into the school while it's closed and use it as their home because of the fact that no higher education is being offered, then we still have a lot of work to do. Exactly.
How about the box? Speak for me.
Yep. That was the box. Now. Okay. Serious note again. See, this is why I like having multi-mask here. You can do the serious moments and I can just sit back and, yeah, exactly. But normally, what I would be saying in this aspect is that exactly.
That's multi-mask now.
I'll tell the people with the blood gun darts to hold off because we still need them. Okay. Now, as I was saying, okay. You're making me lose my train of thought. I want to be, okay, anyway. Schools closing is bad. People on the homeless streets, bad. Government making money off of people having no homes, bad. The world making money off of school kids without teaching them anything, bad. So no matter how many bad things that happen in the world, the government is always prepared to shift the blame to someone else. Now, okay. Who did not see that the moment our so-called president went into rehab, or what is called treatment, wouldn't come out like Clark Kent from Superman? See, and who didn't think, I mean how many times our so-called future president-to-be, aka Biden, walked without a mask and yet keeps talking about listen to the scientists. Even the scientist originally in 1986 said, and I quote, "Wearing a mask is only for the sick, unwell, or the ones who feel that they are going to be that way." Now, here's what the so-called, forgive me for using the term blue trouble, okay, blue side wants you to believe that if you go out into the world and someone sneezes on you or gets sick on you or whatever, you're going to be carrying this virus and not knowing it. Anyone around you will be carrying this virus and not know it. The world around you will not know it. Everything around you will not know it until eventually when you need to know. The media will tell you what to do. And yet, they have parties, get drunk, get all forms of diseases. They have barbecues, and everyone comes to them. The police even have their own barbecues and outings and stuff like this. And yet, they are telling other people, "You gotta follow the law, mister." What law? If even the people who are writing the so-called law aren't even following the law. Exactly. Now, once again, with the help of Little Trouble, in the Constitution it says Congress cannot write anything that they themselves don't follow.
You're joking.
Nope.
I didn't know that.
Yep, a lot of people don't know that because they read. Now, what's your closing remarks on higher education and schools being closed? I'm waiting.
That's my closing remarks.
What words? Not sound effects. Come on.
Well, it's happy days for the kids. It gives them a chance to be individual people. The adults don't like it because there's nobody there to babysit the kids while they go out and they party and they do drugs and they do barbecues. But the kids love it. And the government loves it even more because they get money from the parents for their kid not going to school to start with. So I think it's pretty awesome.
I mean, that's the reason why you're in trouble. Okay, onward and upward. Okay, why do we even put up with individuals graduating if they can't be with their classmates when they graduate? Even if there was the Black Plague around in the ancient days, there would be people who still going to churches, still going to all their other functions, trying to, quote-unquote, live within this impossible event that may or may not change. But here, we put up TV screens to talk to each other like we normally do off of every phone, every 10 minutes, every 20 seconds, and so forth. The only one making out on this is the people who make cameras, because they have to support the fact that their product actually works long enough to do the job.
But you see, Shadow Eyes, we don't care about cameras. We knock the cameras out.
True. But once again, it's this visual network. I think it is the high-tech world that had decided that society reaching the year 2020, 2025, to 2030 should become just virtual, and that everybody should be in their own home eating and enjoying their life via camera, so that anyone stupid enough to quote-unquote have a camera on them 24/7, they know exactly what they're doing and why. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, they're rewriting where you live, who you are with, how you interact, and who you talk to, until eventually see, we ninja don't mind to be, confined. We're used to it until we need to do the mission. But those other individuals go crackers because they become like weird insane asylum patients who quote unquote can't stop themselves from saying or doing something on camera that becomes viral. Now, why do we even use the term lockdown or viral? Well, because those things scare us, or them, and in doing so makes everyone get all upset. First they call it the pandemic. Then they called it an accidental injury. Then they called it an infusion. Then they called it a temporary adjustment. And now they're talking about how do we get it back to normality? Normality was never taken from us. Only morality and immorality and sociality. Okay. Well, what's your view on sociality?
I won't go there.
Yeah?
I'm not allowed to say it.
What?
It has a high rating.
Oh, okay. You mean a 10-foot pole?
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's the problem with the 10-foot pole. You never can get past the 6, 7, 8, 9. Anyway.
Well, you know me. I'm camera shy.
Yes, I can tell. I don't like the camera any more than anyone else. If anything, I would choose that multi-mask be here doing all this stuff, and I would just be sitting back going,
Well, you're stuck with me.
Oh, no. You're perfect. The idea of having you here is perfect, Blue Trouble, because you represent all those things that Blue should be supporting, but they have trouble with.
So.
Oh, once again, this is the introduction of Blue Trouble. If you see this person here again, well, okay. Anyway.
Go ahead, say it.
I did. Okay. Anyway. Now, for a moment of reflection.
Bird watching.
That's the next subject. Okay.
We're actually reading this off of Bank People.
Yes, we used to write these things down, but then they, both the hand. Anyway.
Bird watching. That's a pretty sweet hobby. I mean, it's a lot like hunting, except you don't have to buy bullets, a gun. You probably don't have to get up early. It just seems a lot easier. Now, with bird watchers, I wouldn't imagine just a regular old bird is something they're trying to see. I mean, maybe they want to use a camera to take pictures of birds, and they want the whole collection. So then, at the beginning, you take your pictures of your robins and your starlings, and all those common birds. Then you get into the birds you see a little less.
And folks, now you know why he's...
And that's where it gets tricky. That's where it probably gets fun for a lot of people. And then you get that high of the victory of finding that bird you were trying to look for. It probably feels pretty sweet. Probably makes you feel like $1 million. Probably makes you feel like you're on top of the world. And the great thing is, there's more birds to find. And if you really have the money, you can travel and find these birds. And then one day you can be like, hey, look at my photograph collection of all these birds I took them myself. Of course, nowadays, you can pull up a picture of any kind of bird on the internet. So to brag about pictures about every kind of bird that you took, how are you going to prove that? You just look like a big liar. But I guess there's things you can do. Prove that it's your picture. Not sure what that is. Maybe get someone else in the picture with you, but that's going to be kind of hard. But you have the birds up in the sky. They're in the trees, man. What are you going to do? But I mean, it's pretty dumb. You accidentally shoot someone else. They're not going to be injured. You just have their picture. Well, except for the people who believe cameras will steal your soul. Those people, they might have issues. But you know, I mean, the great thing about bird watching, you're not changing nature. Well, you might be, depending on what you're doing to get those bird pictures. But you're not ending any lives. I mean, it's something for animal rights activists. For those people who don't believe in killing animals. Those people who even don't like deer hunting. Even though deer hunting prevents deer from running out in the traffic and killing people. Side note, deer are one of the most dangerous animals in America. I believe they kill more people than any other animal in the United States. I could be wrong. Probably not. I'm pretty smart. So, you know, birds. Bird is a word.
Okay. The animals miss the human beings.
Do they?
Yeah, they are so upset, it seems, that they don't have anyone to crap on. They don't have anyone to mess with. They don't have anyone to just enjoy the day with. According to them, human beings are like their TV. So now they're watching us inside of our caves and getting all upset because they don't have their normal dropped treats, normal messed up conversations, normal abnormalities of people fighting in the streets and getting upset with each other, except when it comes to riots. And, well, pretty much they're bored to death. So they're like doing songs and dances out there trying to get people's attention, thinking that the world had ended for them. Because what happens when your favorite television program ends? You have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. Correct. And you hope that it's going to come back on.
Well, it's just like the squirrels. This morning, the squirrels were talking about what channel could we watch today? I don't know. Let's watch the Crazy People During COVID channel. It's just, we are their television people. We are their programs. We are their National Geographic. We're their National Human Graphic. And now, all of a sudden, there's no humans hardly. And the animals are upset. They are going to go rioting. So they've sent birds to spy on us. We call them the bird watchers.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the bird watchers, Shadowlands?
I feel that if human beings aren't crazy enough to start throwing food onto the ground, by accident of course, the birds can tell,
Yes, they can always tell.
then they're going to riot themselves. They will start crapping on every home that used to bring them food.
And they will crap on you, people.
Yep. Your cars will not be safe. Your children will not be safe. Everyone who ever got food and accidentally dropped it will not be safe.
Your picnic tables will be in danger of being crapped on.
Yep. Because they will be so upset that their TV has been taken hostage.
I can tell you who the animals are going to vote for in the election, and it won't be Biden.
Exactly.
They want their freedoms back. And they can't get their freedoms back if we don't have our freedoms.
Exactly. So as the saying goes, vote for the animals, because they will crap on you if you don't. See, that's the thing about freedom. The art of the ninja requires that you have no freedom. You are merely a tool to do the bidding of the work. Nothing more, nothing less. But when it comes to animals, they're your support. They let you know where the wind's blowing, who's dropping what crap, and where you're safe or not safe. And now you're messing up their radar.
We're taking away their television programs.
Exactly.
And unlike us, they don't have to pay a bill to have their TV programs. Theirs was free, so they are going to riot.
Yep, they're so 5 minutes away from it. But hey, the world has to change. We understand that as much as anyone else. There's always going to be different regimes trying to take over, because they're claiming that they are better than everyone else, when in reality the only thing that they're better at is screwing stuff up more. If they truly wanted us to have our freedoms and belong and do the stuff that we're supposed to and enjoy life, then they themselves would be doing it too.
Well, I'm not going to worry about the COVID until the animals walk around with masks on.
Exactly.
You don't see the animals flying around going, hey, be careful, we can't have that neighborhood block party. We might get the COVID, but let's go shit on that person's picnic table.
Exactly. You're now getting gangs of animals that want to become as lethal as today's versions of gangs. Oh, and once again reminding you this is the Halloween episode, so we're not trying to be scary, we're just trying to get to the randomness of it.
We don't have to be scary, Shadow Eyes. We're naturally scary.
Exactly. Now to our final and most difficult one of all.
Now, warning, folks. If anybody out there is into drinking alcohol, cut this program off.
Yep, because we're about ready to tell you one of the worst things you've ever experienced. Backwards drivers.
So backwards driving, you know, it's actually a pretty good talent. I wonder if you were good enough, could you just drive down the road backwards? Like if you were looking, if a cop just saw a car driving backwards perfectly, what's the legal ramifications of it getting pulled over, you know? I'm sure there's laws against it though. But there's many reasons to backward drive. Parking, you kind of drive backwards for a little bit if you're one of those backup parkers, so to speak. Sometimes you get in that dead end, you gotta drive backwards to get out. Let me tell you something. You have one of those cars with the rear view cameras, makes it so much easier though. Makes it a little more possible to get careless and kill somebody. Now anyway, I'm trying to think of a time where I was drove backwards for a long period of time. Those few times you get in the wrong lane, like a turn lane, like, oh, I need to be in this other lane. But a car pulls up. Hey, if it does, get it back up, and then get in the lane. And if I'm not mistaken, that can get you pulled over. And it's you know what it brings it to? It brings to people ruining stuff for other people because they don't do stuff right. And then people who can do stuff right get punished for their ability to do something that other people just can't do. It's like an analogy for life. Think about it.
Backwards driving is a luxury. NASCAR had it. Everyone of big truck and what are they called those? Yeah, I think that's fantastic. What are they called? Monster truck rallies and stuff like that. Demolition derbies and so forth. They've earned the right to backwards drive. But you, the American citizen, had earned only your license. And if you indeed earned that license, then you know for a fact that when you back up into someone, they will front end you.
And the animals are allowed to backwards drive.
Yes, they are.
I mean, if you are an animal, you have the right to backwards drive.
Yep. Yep, you were given that authority by your owner. Now, what I don't care about with backwards drivers is because of the fact that they don't use lights. Yes, they got that emergency light on when they're going backwards. But where's that honking the horn, getting out of my way, doing the crap that's necessary for, those work machines that have to toot, 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 toot. See, they understand what it means to back up. Now, when the system starts moving forward again, we'll see less backwards drivers. Because in the end, everyone wants to drive forward. Every time we back up, we don't always get the better of what it means to get out of that tight spot. We get some asshole.
PG-13 rating.
Exactly. Asshole to quote unquote rear end, front end, side end, and just dead end any part of your vehicle.
Well, you know what it is, don't you? People are so bored during this COVID-19, they want somebody to back into.
I would say so, yes. Now, once again, we don't advocate people dying. We just know that they will. Okay. We don't advocate that there isn't no such thing as COVID-19. We advocate that there's no proof. We don't advocate that there is no reason to believe that China or any of these other places didn't create it. We just, once again, don't have no proof. No one has any proof. If they had proof, trust me. Anyway, right now, the only thing we look forward to is the year 2021. And in that, we only have one
folks.
option.
Uno for you Mexicans.
One option. And that is live life or not.
and give your birds the joy of watching their national human graphics.
Exactly.
So you may backwards drive today.
Exactly. So that respect in backwards COVID, university, school, closing, higher education, bird watching, drivers learn their place.
Thank you for tuning in to this video.
Of the random show.
Please subscribe for your monthly payment of $59.99 now. And we'll keep the show going.
Yes.
More details from Shadow Eyes.
Okay. Once again, Blue Trouble, thank you for your advertising expertise. The Fortune 500 companies around the world will be very thankful in the end. Now, if you decide to give us your stuff, multi-mask after we finish untying him from being missing in action, hanged for punishment, we'll return here for Election Day, or as we like to call it. Anyway, once again, this is Blue Trouble, and I am Shadow Eyes, and we wish you a safe.
And remember, subscribe today. Keep us on the air.
Thank you.